All right, so I recently got this awesome machine that's sitting over my right shoulder. It is an MZ-75 air hammer from Ken's Custom Iron. I'm going to talk to you about the machine a little bit and about how we use it to make cymbals. So a little backstory, I'm a cymbal smith based in North Carolina, and I've had my business for 10 years now. And the method that I've done for years has been almost entirely hand hammered. So I basically get a bronze blank that has a bell pressed into it or a cup pressed into it. And then over the course of hundreds and thousands of individual hammer strikes by hand, I build the shape. I cold form that shape up into the curvature that I need for the kind of cymbals that I make. If you followed along with the channel, you probably recognize the other hammer that's sitting behind me there. That is a Clay Spencer tire hammer. I picked that up from another cymbalsmith buddy. We did some modifications to it so that it would work with thin sheet bronze. But that machine is it's a one-trick pony. It does one thing really, really well. And I've been looking for a machine that could give me more versatility and give me more finesse so that I could get a little bit more of a hand-hammered style with a machine. So fast forward to lots of research, talking to a lot of different blacksmiths, seeing what existed for thin sheet metal. Everybody was talking about a planishing hammer, but those things reciprocate way too fast, and I need a lot of control for the cymbal smithing. I needed something that could do single blows, slower tempo stuff, and also really light taps. So in comes Ken's Custom Iron and the MZ-75 hammer. So it's an air-powered hammer. We have a massive compressor out on the side of our shop. Feeds air in. It's got a couple simple adjustments to it. All of the blows are controlled via the treadle, and it requires a lot of skill and finesse to get the kind of strokes we need for cymbal smithing. So far I've probably logged over 10 hours on this thing, and I still have a ways to go to get better at it and really get consistency with it. There is a lot of technique to how I position both of my feet. I use my left foot underneath the treadle to control how far down I can press the treadle, so that keeps me from really pushing it down too far and getting a blow that's way too hard for sheet bronze. And then my right foot is there adding just the right amount of pressure to give me the tempo and the right force behind each blow. So that's one half of it. The other half of it is I've got to hold the cymbal and I've got to spin the cymbal and move it in and out. With our other tire hammer, our other mechanical hammer, we have a jig, and we're probably going to make a jig for this one, but the jig allows me to just set the cymbal on a stand and I can just turn it. And the weight of the cymbal is being held by the stand, and then I'm able to get perfect circles. I want to be able to do that with this hammer, but I also will be using the freehand technique where I'm just holding the cymbal, carrying the weight of it, moving it in and out, moving it around in circles to get the kind of blows that I need. Once I have enough time logged onto it, it'll be able to do essentially what hand hammering can do. It's just a lot of skill and a lot of technique is involved in getting both the feet right and the hands right. Now a little bit about Ken's Custom Iron. The owner, Ken, invented this hammer. It's based off of an old steam-powered power hammer that he had used that's like from the early 1900s. It's kind of got some things, some design elements taken from that. And he really wanted to come up with a modern machine that could do all of the super heavy blacksmithing type work that blacksmiths typically do, hammering on hunks of steel that are red hot right out of the forge. But he also wanted it to be able to do finesse work. He wanted to be able to do texturing and get really light taps so that you're not overworking the metal, hitting it too hard. He wanted a machine that could do it all. So he invented the MZ-75. And I can say, with the amount of time I've had on it, it's a really incredible machine. It works super, super well. So let's talk about the specifics of how it works. So the air comes into the machine, and initially it has a little water collection thing for water in the line, so you can drain that. and then it goes through a pressure regulator so I can choose how much PSI I want the machine to function with. We found that between 40 and 50 PSI is plenty for the work we do. Then it goes through a little holder for some oil that will add oil to the internal parts of the hammer, and then the air goes through, and it has just 2 adjustments that I have to work with beyond just the PSI pressure adjustment. The first is just a little nozzle that allows in air. It's basically got 2 settings. I can do just a little bit, and it allows less air through, so it allows for lighter blows, and then I can open it wide open for harder and faster blows. Below that is a little crank that I can move it forward for faster strikes or move it back for slower strikes. We found that placing it right in the middle is great for what we do. We can get single strikes out of it or reciprocating blows, and it works really, really well for us. So that's really all that's to it. The few little adjustments there is all you got to manage, and then beyond that, you're really just focusing on the technique with the treadle. And like I said, I use my left foot to kind of keep myself from pushing the treadle too far. I can kind of lock in where I like the tension and where I like the force that it has, and then I use my right foot to actually push the treadle down and get the kind of strikes I want. I can do a single push and get a single blow, and then I can push the pedal down, get it started reciprocating, and then I can ever so slightly push down further and further, and then it just lowers down until it makes contact with that bottom die. Now we had Ken's Custom Iron make us some specific dies, because a typical blacksmithing hammer is just 2 rectangular blocks, and we needed something that would simulate a hammerhead. So I have a hammer over here, and it's got a face to it, it's got a radius to it, and we have all different kinds of hammers. And so that face, that radius is super important for the style of hammering that we're wanting to do. So we got them to make us 3 different styles. The one that is the middle size is on the hammer right now. I also got them to make this guy, which is rather small and creates a very small divot. On the other side, we have this one, which is a much flatter face, and it produces a bigger strike zone. Now we've already had to do a couple adjustments because this hammer is not really made for cymbal smithing. And those minor adjustments has just locked it in, and we can do so much with this machine. So let's check out how it works on some bronze. Now this is already partially hammered, but you can see in the light there, those strikes are fairly hard. I can just lift up ever so slightly and get more of a tippy tap kind of thing, and the strike surface is a little bit smaller. These strikes right here would be equivalent to really heavy hand hammering. So a lot of times we're dealing with the slightest little change in the foot pressure to try to get a light stroke, which is more common when you're just doing the cold forming shaping portion of cymbal making. So if you haven't, please go check out kenscustomiron.com. You can see the different hammers they make, and you can see their blacksmithing operation. They do great work. They've sold a lot of these hammers because guys are really, really liking them. And as far as I know, I'm the first cymbal smith ever to own one of these hammers. I hope I'm not the last because it works really, really well. And it's relatively inexpensive. It's not a super expensive machine. And it's gonna save my body. I mean, I've been doing this for a number of years now, and I'm only 35, but I can, feel the joints, and the muscles and joints they get tired pretty fast, and it's just extremely hard on the body to be swinging a hammer for hours a day. So as we've moved this into our production and in the making of the cymbals, we're able to use the tire hammer to get some basic shape and kind of iron out the curvature so that things are sitting relatively flat. And then I'm using a mixture of hand hammering and the MZ-75 to get the type of topography that I want and really fine tune and dial out the shape and deal with lumps and bumps and really iron out the tension in each piece. So that's the MZ-75 hammer. Have you heard of it? If not, please drop a comment below. Let me know what you think. And as always, like and subscribe if you dig the channel. We got a lot of stuff coming on cymbals. We love cymbals. We love cymbal bronze here. So drop a comment below and keep an eye out for the next video. My name is Timothy Roberts. Thanks for watching.